Well, it is a gorgeous twilight here in Indiana, and here's something to help pretty it up. Yes, that's right. He done did it again. I did, in fact, buy another car. Say hello to my 2004 Chrysler Crossfire Limited coupe manual 6-speed. I just got this a few days ago. Picked it up from a gentleman in Arkansas. And, well, let's talk about Lil, and we'll do a little bit of a walk around, startup, and drive. So, part of the reason, not a big part, but one of the ways that I knew it was time for me to sell the Cadillac was that I was finding myself more and more looking around at other cars. It's almost like having a girlfriend. If you find yourself constantly looking at other women, that probably means she's not the right one for you. So more and more, as I've been having the continual frustrations and stuff with the Cadillac, I was finding myself more and more looking at other cars. And one of the cars I'd had in my eye a long time was the Chrysler Crossfire. Now, if you've been watching my channel long enough, you've heard me say, I really don't like modern cars. I mean, technologically, they're marvels. They're so much safer and better than the old cars in a lot of ways, but just the design. Somewhere around the early mid-70s, people just stopped caring about what their cars looked like. It was just all about, fuel efficiency and safety and everything like that. And people just stopped caring. People nowadays, they buy and drive gray cars. A gray car. Now, if you're out there driving a gray car, more power to you. But I mean, why anyone would have a gray car, I don't know. But I will say one of the very few exceptions of modern designs that I always loved was the Chrysler Crossfire. It's a real throwback design with that beautiful boat tail rear end, especially on the coupes, and just a fantastic design. Really, it was actually a concept car that Mercedes and Chrysler came up with around 2001. Actually, an Art Deco design. Some say it was even inspired by the old Chrysler building in New York City. And yeah, just a fantastic looking car. I thought only came as a 2-seater, only V6 option, and I thought they were fantastic. They never caught on. They only made them for 5 model years, from 2004 to 2008. And they only sold 76,000 of these total in that entire production. And in fact, the most was almost half of those was the very first year in 2004. And it went down more and more. I think they barely sold more than a few thousand in the 2008 model, and that was it. But yeah, so this was a crossover with Mercedes and Chrysler, the Daimler Chrysler, and this is actually based on the Mercedes R170 platform. Basically, these were a reskin of the first generation of the Mercedes SLK. So it's got the 3.2 liter V6, 18 valve, puts out 215 horsepower. These can get up to 155 miles an hour, and no farther, because there's an electronic limit built in past that. Boo. And only came in 2 body styles, the coupe and the roadster, which is to say the coupe fastback style here, and the roadster, which is what I would call a convertible. I'm not a ragtop man, but as you know from the Mustang and the Cadillac, I love a great rear end on a car, and pardon my French, but that is just an ass that don't quit. That is just sharp as hell. That's something I kind of like about these, is from the front, like you see one maybe behind you, and from the front it just kind of looks like a fairly stolid Chrysler design, not too different from a Sebring of that era from the front. But you see like the cool lines in the hood, that low top there, gets zippy and zoomy on the side, got that great stance, looks fast standing still, and then that beautiful boat tail rear end just, you know, sums it all up, and it's just a fantastic looking thing. Only came in 3 trim levels: the base, the limited, and then the SRT6. The SRT6 and the limited are pretty much the same, except for one thing is that it has a turbocharged V6 instead of the regular V6. But this one puts out 215 horsepower. A lot of people, when it came out, actually compared it to the mid-60s AMC Martin, if anybody remembers those. And there is a bit of a resemblance, I would say. You may notice there's actually a different tire size on the front and back, which helps give it something of that that great looking stance that I like. I will say this about the colors that this were available in was kind of the start of that modern era, which the modern era of cars is people just seem to love the black and white spectrum. So many cars today are black, white, gray, and silver. And in fact, that was the majority of the colors for this car. They also had a kind of a bluey silver. They did have an actual blue. They had a yellow. And then they had this, which is the red color, which is, they call it the Blaze Red Crystal Pearl. Now, this car is in good shape. It's only got 57,000 miles on it. But it is 21 years old. So it is a nice looking car, but hardly perfect. You probably see a few paint chips here and there. Like you saw, of course, here on the nose is pretty typical. I think the biggest one I've seen is actually right there. And a couple more on the roof. Not bad. But I did send away for the correct paint code. That's the PHR code, touch-up paint. So should be able to fix those spots. A couple of the things here and there. I think I just noticed a little bit of bubbling here. Just for the first time I noticed. I'm not sure if that's the clear coat popping up, or hopefully that's not actual rust. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to have that looked at. But yeah, and this is actually one of the cool things that you can tell they're here, but that's actually a rear spoiler, and that pops up automatically when the car hits about 63 miles per hour on the highway, and then when you go below 40, it comes back down again. But yeah, great looking car from the outside. On the inside, now I was pretty particular when I was looking for one, as I wanted one with low mileage. Kind of preferred a limited over the base, so that wasn't a make or break. The limited does have leather interior. This is the gray interior. I'm not too fond of gray as a color for a car, inside or out. I kind of was hoping to get one with the black, but this is a good fit. Like I said, it is the manual. Well, let's do a start up and drive. Now, one of the quirks that I found out about these cars is that they are hard cranking to start. The only other manual I'd ever owned is the truck there. So, of course, you don't need to press the clutch in to get this started, but on the more modern cars, you do. These also want some gas to start. Now, I don't think it's a matter of, obviously, it's fuel injected, so it doesn't need to be primed, but I think the issue is that there's actually like a sensor where you have to press the gas past a certain point before it'll start up. So I've had a number of times where I've had to crank this 2 or 3 times to get it to start it up. We do that, clutch in, give her some gas. See, that time she went right up. But I've had some other times where honestly I've had to do that 2 or 3 start cycles before she'll go. But got that nice whine to her. Sounds real good. It's got plenty of zip. I have found a few issues on the car just in the couple of days here that I've been able to drive it. Probably the funniest one here is I went to go press the button. I had worked the window over here. It went down fine, and then when I went to press it back up, the whole button just fell into the console there. And then I went to press the passenger airbag off button, and it did the same thing. So I don't know if there's like a plate that's back there that's got missing or something, but I have to have that taken. I do think I hear a loose belt in the engine. So probably have to have that taken a look at. And I've got probably like 3 or 4 other, I'm hoping, minor-ish things like that. Like this is actually a drink holder here that pops up, and I can't get that to come up. So probably I've got probably about 6 or 7 of those minor things I'm going to take into the shop here next week. Hopefully have those taken care of. So there is the engine. So this is an all Mercedes drivetrain. Now you can hear, I guess I'm getting a little bit of a belt noise there, not too bad. I was hearing it ticking earlier, so maybe, but obviously, nice little motor. I'm sure something I did think about was the fact that as a Mercedes drivetrain, when I do need to do repairs on this car, I'm sure they're going to be a lot more expensive than what I'm used to for my all-American cars that I've ever owned. But we'll factor that in. Again, it's, see if it shows up here on the dash. So that's, I'm not sure if you can see that in that light, but that's 57,768 miles. So I'm hoping with that low miles, I shouldn't have any major issues with transmission, struts, clutch, engine, all that kind of stuff that you would think would wear out on a 21-year-old car, things that tend to be more miles-based than age-based. But yeah, looking pretty sweet. Well, let's go for a quick drive.